Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've got a very big surprise update today, actually, now live in Warzone 2 that includes some bug fixes, some general gameplay updates, but most importantly, some very spicy weapon tuning. So that said, let's go ahead, let's dive into this. We have the February 24th update. We'll go ahead and zoom in so you guys can read along here. Some global bug fixes here. Fix an issue causing incomplete main menu notification, text to get cut off, preventing players from reading the full-on message. Pretty small, pretty negligible fix there. We're getting right into the weapon tuning here, and there are some very interesting notes. So, weapon adjustments. Assault rifles for the RPK, not an assault rifle by the way, but the RPK initial bullet vertical recoil has been increased. So those first couple of shots with the RPK are now going to have more recoil. That's a solid update. Increase the horizontal recoil, something that's not nearly as predictable. Also a very solid update, and they reduce the damage ranges ever so slightly. One thing I really wish Infinity Ward and Raven would do is give us exact numbers here. That's what they did back during Warzone 1. We had really transparent patch notes towards the end where it was like, reduce the damage range from 25 to 22 meters or from 85 meters to 76 meters, whatever the case may be. Now we have to go through and actually test what the exact damage drop-offs are here, but regardless, the RPK is now going to be a little bit worse. I'm actually going to be talking in a future video here soon about some alternatives for the RPK. I still see it being a long-range option because players are familiar with it. It's not going to be drastically worse because its damage drop-offs are going to be this much more severe. It's still one of the lower recoil options, and its damage itself, despite now obviously the range being a little bit worse, is still competitive enough that I think it'll be in line with some of the other top options, but not the clear #1 choice. The Kastov 762 had its damage ranges also reduced even more. That was actually an update with the original Season 2 patch. Now, even more so. So the 762, even less competitive than before. Still a really good rifle option, and probably one of the top ones still because its TTK is still much better than most other rifles, but a little bit more competitive all across the board. And then on the Hemlock, they fixed an issue that made the 300 blackout ammo register as hit scan. I didn't really think it was that worth it to use the blackout ammo to begin with. That's why I haven't been recommending it, but now it's really like lost all of its major draw. The hit scan bullet velocity aspect of it was crazy. That's been fixed now. So Hemlock, just use your basic ammo. Then for SMGs, the Fennec, they reduced the far damage. That's not really a super significant nerf because its close range is where it's so good. Its far damage drop off is better than most subs, but not something you'd want to be using over a Chimera or a 74U or something like that. They also reduce the damage against armor. It requires 2 additional bullets to break 3 armor plates. That said, the fire rate on the Fennec is still pretty crazy, so those 2 additional shots, I'm curious to see how much of an impact that makes. Based off of these notes, I could see the Fennec still being, that top 1, top 2 choice in the game. For battle rifles, they increased the sprint speed on the Recon. That's not a huge update, but it's something that makes the Recon a little bit better. On the Lockman 762, they increased the damage range, so a solid buff there. They reduced the ADS speed and the hip spread minimum. They increased the hip spread while moving and increased the sprint speed, so some solid buffs to the Lockman to make it a bit more strong and aggressive here, really. SO14, they increased the movement speed, minor buff there. TAC V reduced the near damage, reduced muzzle velocity, reduced far damage range, and reduced movement speed. They don't want the TAC V to be a strong weapon here whatsoever, it seems like. So, some solid nerfs here, some slight nerfs, and then they just go to all out on the TAC V. Yeah, no, we're putting you into the ground, right? This thing, it already got a nerf with the Season 2 update that made it significantly less than what it was back in Season 1, and now even more so they are hurting it, so really not a great option in the current meta. Then we also got some adjustments to attachments. Of course, earlier on today, we talked about how the one-shot capability with snipers was only here because of incendiary rounds, and what do you know, they've gone through and nerfed the incendiary ammunition. Residual incendiary damage will no longer eliminate players. Fix an issue that prevented residual incendiary damage from being applied to armor. Fix an issue that allowed snipers to down players with 3 armor plates in a single shot while using incendiary ammo. So one-shot snipers now do no longer exist. They have completely nerfed those and removed those out of the game, and incendiary rounds just are not going to be as viable after this update. So a decent amount of weapon tuning. I don't think it shifts things a ton like all these weapons, RPK, Kastov, Rastov, Hemlock, Fennec, they're still going to be top tier. It's just not a huge gap like it was before, where RPK is still this much better than this other LMG, or you know, Fennec this much better than this other SMG. They're still competitive for sure, just based off of these initial notes here. We then get into some bug fixes as well. Quick reminder as we jump into this, if you guys are new to the channel, every single day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, news, updates, class setups, tips, everything like that. You'll find it right here on a daily basis, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Also, if you enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like on it as well, would be seriously appreciated. For multiplayer, for some bug fixes here, they fixed an issue that caused some elements to be missing in the after action report. Nothing too crazy, but some solid QOL updates. Fixed collision issues with various elements on Embassy in specific, and fix an issue allowing players to leave Farm 18 in Infected, so you can't do any more out of bounds exploits in Infected on Farm 18 specifically. There's also a couple of ranked play updates here as well. They fixed an issue causing players to receive harsher suspensions than intended. Fixed an issue causing players to get kicked for inactivity despite being active in a match. This is a very big one. I can't tell you how many clips over the past week or so, ever since ranked dropped, that I have seen players like jump shotting, diving around corners on the objective, and kicked for inactivity. Super weird bug, but I'm glad that one's been fixed now. They also fixed an issue that would incorrectly display the SR being reset to 0. That's not actually happening. It was just a visual bug, so that's been updated as well. Slight little Spec Ops update here. They fixed an issue stopping a player being unable to move if they use the terminals at the same time as another player for the raid in specific there, it seems like. And then in Battle Royale, we did actually see a new playlist update go live today, if you might recall. For Battle Royale for Al Mazrah, it's still the standard stuff, solos, duos, trios, and quads, nothing out of the ordinary there. But then for Ashika Island, we now have Resurgence solos live as of today. So we've got quads and we've got solos now available for that. Should be pretty fun to dive in and experience what solos is like on Ashika Island in specific. We also have some general updates here as well. Adjusted the positioning of some of the geographic elements on Ashika Island for better cover. Fixed collision issues with various elements across Ashika Island, allowing players to exploit and peek through them. Fixed an issue that caused the correct combination of attachments with incendiary rounds down with a single shot on the snipes. I'm not sure why we put that in the patch notes twice. Battle Royale fixed an issue that prevented purchased loadout drop markers from equipping to the active loadout field upgrade slot. An issue that caused the most wanted contract tooltip to indicate a 4-minute timer instead of a 3-minute timer. An issue that caused standard Battle Royales to be 2v2 in the gulag still somehow. Then also an issue that would inaccurately display the placed 155th in a match, even though there obviously is not the option to do so. Then in DMZ, they fixed an AI issue with reinforcements on Ashika clipping through certain buildings. An exploit relating to getting a weapon with extra attachments. An issue relating to players getting stuck with repeating down instance inventory messages, and then also an issue with the floating cache used in the radioactive materials contract. And then there's a couple of recently updated things. We've already talked about these and a handful of the other mini updates, but overall a surprise update today that no one was really expecting to go out with some decent nerfs. You know, I've already gotten some content, you know, pre-planned out for next week regarding some of these guns, and just based off of the initial stuff here, because it's not actual damage reductions to a lot of these weapons, I don't feel like that's going to be too huge outside of the Fennec's far damage, which wasn't really something that was crazy broken with it in the first place. So some interesting notes. I think it does make the overall meta a lot more competitive there. And of course, we love seeing bug fixes and, you know, gameplay updates that allow us to play the game more smoothly. So decent little surprise update today. That said, that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications so you can always stay up to date with all things going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.